You crave unlimited power,
but don't have the credits.
Then set your Naba computer for the generous Jawa Droid Emporium, where we'll sell you a used GNK Series Power Droid for a fraction of the cost. They may not look like much, but they've got it where it counts. Unlimited power you can wield throughout the galaxy at a price you can afford. That's the generous Jawa Droid Emporium, Mos Eisley Spaceport, Tatooine in the Outer Rim. Limit one droid per customer. Restraining bolt-on included droid fusion reactors are not subject to warranty. The generous Jawa Droid Emporium is not responsible for any electrical damage to equipment or life forms. All cells are final. This message is not approved by the Empire.
Hello there. What's up, everybody? It is 30 minutes, 28 minutes till Acolyte time. Let's get hyped. Let's wait for this thing together. Gonk gonk to you, my good sir. Yes, gonkity gonk, gonk gonk, chonky gonk, gonk gonk. It's starting to emerge that I may have a brand, and it's kind of an avalanche now. I can't do anything about it, but you know what? I'm all in. I'm all in for the gonks. I don't know if you guys realize, but the Gonk Union recently declared support for the Yord Horde, so that's official now. You can get your answers right here. Oh no, I have Yord Horde stickers, but they're out of reach right now. Instead, I've just got this delicious Friends with Swagman sticker to show you instead. Oh, good. Welcome to the Soul Patrol. Glad to have you guys in here too. Very important. Very important to bridge the gap between these two warring factions. They're not warring though. Everyone gets along. It's a sibling rivalry. Everyone wants their favorite character to succeed, but it's all right if the other guy does all right too, right? It's not the Jekkie Jam. Okay, that's the first one that I've seen for that. The Jekkie Jam. I can dig it. I can dig the jam. Also, I appreciate your profile picture, dude. That's awesome. I know a thing or two about that game. Don't scare me like that, man. I thought I was about to get attacked by the Urukai. Speaking of the Jedi way, I got something really cool that I want to show you guys. And since we're all in Acolyte mode, it's perfect timing. Look at this. This is the Jedi Master Indara saber from the Acolyte. We get to see it for like 30 seconds during the noodle shop fight. And then it's left on the floor after, spoiler alert, her murder. So it was made by Damien Saber, and they just sent it to me. I just got it like yesterday. It's so cool. It's actually like pretty heavy. And the hilt is a little on the skinny side. I was at the red carpet premiere and I saw the actual screen use props they used for this exact saber. And the one they used is a little thicker than this. It was in a glass case on the red carpet. Yeah, no, I'm all about this one. It's great. I'm going to turn it on in a second here, but it's like extremely bright. Rashomon in Star Wars, that's pretty much the going theory, and I think that's exactly correct. Like, everyone who's saying that episode 3 didn't make sense, and like there's a reason it didn't make sense. We're not getting the entire picture here. We're going to see that flashback again from another perspective, and it's going to answer a lot of questions. That's the way I see it. Let me try this thing out. Would have already lost my hand just doing that part. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Also, how's it going, Maggie? Nice to see you. It's Chris Ryans in the house. Hello there. You guys are just in time for me to kick off Master Indara's lightsaber for the first time here. Whoa. Well, that's extremely yellow and extremely bright. Look at that. I have an app on my phone that lets me change the color. Let me set it up right here. It has presets for different like Jedi and stuff. It's kind of awesome. Okay, there we go. That's a good green color. But let's also get a non-flickery. There we go. There we go. It's like the webcam is kind of washing it out a little bit, but it's like so much light gets cast from this thing. It's pretty awesome. Hell yeah. It's not a NeoPixel, it's a XenoPixel, V 3.0. So same thing, but like even brighter, you know. Here, let me try turning off my front lights and seeing what that does, if that makes any difference here. Yeah, a lot darker. Yeah, a lot more of the color comes through on the screen. I can see it. That's pretty awesome. And I have like a full-blown color wheel on here, and I can just like suddenly turn to the dark side that easily. It's pretty sweet. It's like nice and heavy too. Like when you hold it in position, like it really like holds itself still. Yeah, no. Very cool. Very loud though. I feel like I'm shouting over it. It doesn't want to turn off. Oh my goodness.
Color change.
It's speaking to me. Did you hear that? Whoa. It's just like cycling through the colors and I can like choose which one I want.
Color selected.
It's like a very like Luke in A New Hope. It's almost an Empire Strikes back blue, actually. Very cool. Well, it's still like new toy mode for me, and I don't want to just get sidetracked and have an ADHD moment in front of everybody. So I'm going to put that away for now. Get my lights back on here. There we go. Yeah, it's cool. It's like an entire color wheel. So like any gradient that you want. And you can also have it just slowly cycle through colors, and then you just like say when, pretty much. Like a waiter putting on Parmesan at Olive Garden.
App disconnected.
Whoa. Could you hear that? Yeah. This is going to take some getting used to, having a saber that speaks to me. And not even through the Force, just through a big ass speaker on the bottom. Hello there. How's it going, man? Oh, tonight's episode is supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be much more action intensive. The last episode was full of intrigue and like really sort of setting up the big reveal, the narrative payoff of like what actually happened, what went down, who killed these witches. Wasn't the fire, you know? We heard screaming and like what sounded to me like the roof caving in, but I also don't feel like it happened with the Jedi because there were no saber marks on any of them. They were simply just dead there, you know? So I don't know. We've got some theories. We've got some other options that it could have been. Like maybe the Sith have been interfering all the way from the very, very start. You know, they manipulated this confrontation between the witches and the Jedi in the first place. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. I don't know. I think that May is not responsible for the fire. I think she burned the book, but that book did not cause shit to start blowing up. Like we've seen part A and part C, but we don't know anything about what part B is, and it's going to end up being the most crucial part of the story. So if you find yourself being like, this story doesn't make any sense, it's like, well, yeah, it's because you're getting a child's recollection that was only there for half of the events. So that's what I'm saying. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, what if the Force itself retaliated and what, killed the witches for creating life? At that point, I'd be like, why did they wait 8 years? But it is worth considering because like the Force retaliated against what Plagueis was doing with the corruption that he was like injecting into the living Force with the creation of Anakin. Like he didn't create Anakin and create life on purpose. That was kind of like a counter reaction from the Force itself to try and balance the corruption that was being added into the Force. We will see a Keldor tonight. I'm pretty confident about that because, like, based on all the trailer footage, like, we're going to be back on Kel Naka's planet, right? I hate to say it. I think Kel Naka's dying. I think he's dying this episode. Everyone on May's shit list has died except for Saul. But that's because Saul's kind of like our main Jedi from that list, you know, like he's our second main character besides Osha. So I think he's safe, but Kel Naka's probably going to die. And also just like doing some trailer detective work, you know, like in that big showdown where everyone's got their sabers out and then suddenly the red saber and Saul's like, who are you? Kel Naka's nowhere to be seen. And that definitely seemed like it was an emergency and it was all hands on deck and like everyone was there to face down this red blade. Why wouldn't he be there? Why wouldn't he be there? Unless he dead. So I'm very, very sorry to throw that prediction out there. I wish it wasn't the case, but I think he's gonna die. As for Plo Koon, I'm not sure if it's Plo. It would be a cool connection if it's Plo. It's like technically possible because of his lifespan as a Keldor. This is the tail end of the High Republic, so it might be Plo. I would honestly prefer it if it was just another Keldor Jedi, because right now Plo is like the only one. And it would be cool if we had more than one Keldor Jedi we could refer to. You know, flesh out that category on Wikipedia a little bit. So I would prefer it not to be Plo. You know, as cool as Easter eggs are, give me more Jedi of that species. We're severely lacking in that department. Keldor characters in general. Yeah, it's much cooler cousin Plo Kool. He wears a leather jacket. He has a speeder with flames painted on the side. He's pretty rad. I'd be okay with seeing some Jedi that we know, but maybe in passing, maybe not having any sort of essential role to the story. The same way, like this Keldor is going to be like one of the red shirts in this fight. Like I'm pretty sure all the Jedi, because like in the trailer shots, there's like easily like half a dozen to a dozen Jedi there, right? And that's more Jedi than we've even met on the show so far. So I feel like we're definitely going to get a couple of red shirts thrown in with Vernestra when she arrives on the planet, just to like round out the fight, so we can see just how badass this Red Blade is, because he's going to take out like a bunch of Jedi in this first encounter. But we can't lose Jecki. We can't lose Yord. We're not going to lose Vernestra. Like, are you kidding me? Would burn down the internet. But would the stakes have to be demonstrated? So I feel like someone's going to die, and I feel like it's going to be these nameless, as yet unintroduced Jedi that are going to join them for that encounter. But because Kel Naka's not in any of that footage, I really don't think that he survived that far. And that makes me very sad, because I wanted more Wookiee Jedi time. I said the same thing about Indara, though, you know, and like then we got more of her in the flashbacks. So, and we're definitely getting more flashbacks because we've only got half of the story right now. So whether or not he dies tonight, we'll still get more Kel Naka before the end of the show. So I really shouldn't worry about it. That is definitely my concern, though. You know what I mean? Thanks for hanging out, man. It's funny. We're all doing the exact same thing that like Star Wars fans have always done. It's one of our big traditions, right? Right before Star Wars release, we all just kind of like form a queue and hang out for a little while. Since the 70s, like nerds have been standing in a line outside of theaters waiting for the new thing to drop and just sort of like chit-chatting with people that, like, you know, they don't necessarily know them, but like you become friends over the course of an evening waiting for that red, like the little red curtain to be moved aside, and you finally come into the lobby. And you know, the person who's first in line for the new Star Wars thing is always like, they remember it forever. That's totally what it feels like in this day and age. Like the new iteration of that is all of us hanging out in like a live stream. You know what I mean? That's it feels kind of nice to be able to capture that again, especially for a generation that doesn't get to do that all the time, because not every Star Wars thing comes out in a theater anymore. You know, Disney Plus, everyone watches this at home, you know? So I'm glad that like, you know, the kids these days get to experience at least like some version of that. What up, Star Wars? Hello there. Yeah, that's right. Leslie Heslin's favorite episode is episode 5. That's coming next week, and I'm super stoked for that. Oh man. Well, thank you for making me extra nervous as I react to the episode tonight. I'm like, oh my God, Star Wars is watching. Great to see you, Swagman, as always. I think that this episode, I think that's tonight. I'm so ready for the light whip, man. I've been waiting for the light whip since a test of courage. Like, oh, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. And I think it's really a weird thing to be criticized as well, because the light whip is not new. Leslie did not invent this light whip. You know, this is something that has existed in legends before for a very long time. So I don't know. I find that to be a silly thing to get worked up about. Oh, that's right. You know, I'm actually remembering something for the first time that Leslie also said during our roundtable chat. She very offhanded. She mentioned this, but she said that the light whip isn't even the craziest lightsaber in the show. She said that she had another idea, and she brought it to the props department, and she said that they looked at her like she was crazy, and they were like, "No, we'll do it." And so I don't know what that is yet, and I'm like, "What the hell what the hell kind of a lightsaber could be crazy enough that the props department would like balk at it the first time they saw it? So I don't even know what that's going to be, but I'm very excited to find out like what is crazier than the light whip that we're getting in this show. Like they're giving us designs fast, you know? If you think about it, it was like once a movie we would get a new lightsaber. Like Darth Maul was episode 1, Dooku's curved hilt, that's what we got for episode 2. And then did we get something fancy for episode 3? I mean, we got Grievous's like spinny sabers, but that's not really like a fancy saber. That's more like fancy hands, you know? But here we are getting a light whip and something special on top. And that makes me very intrigued. Like, I really want to know what that extra thing is as well. This is absolutely canon, by the way. Star Wars is everywhere, and Star Wars sees everything. Light nunchucks. Whoo, man, that would be a brutal learning curve. Can you imagine trying to practice or like learn how to use light nunchucks for the first time? Like you haven't touched it before, and now you've got to like do the whole. I would lose my elbows like so fast. Oh man, and that's the story of why Kyle doesn't have arms anymore. It's because he tried out the light nunchucks. Light tonfas. It's been done, right? What was her name? Homegirl on the tube top on Felucia in The Force Unleashed. Maris Brood. Maris Brood totally fought with like Force tonfas. She was Shaak Ti's apprentice. I would like to see a canonization of that story. Obviously, a lot of things would have to be changed if you were going to bring The Force Unleashed into the new canon. The biggest of which is that like they would have to nerf the ever-living daylights out of Starkiller, right? Because he's just too powerful to fit into the story. It would create too many lore-breaking questions, in my opinion. I don't know if it would be worth it because so many people would not be satisfied with Starkiller being less than what he was power-wise. But like, I don't know, the two things on my list that I would want them to do would be like scale him down so that he actually fits in with the other players in this story and put a shirt on Maris Brood. Those are my two, the only two changes that I think need to be made. And then we've got a canon adaptation on our hands. Oh man. He's meant to be super OP because he's meant to be Kratos. It's supposed to be like basically God of War, but in Star Wars. That was the whole concept. So they had to make him as powerful as possible. And they nailed it. I mean, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry. I don't think Starkiller is coming to canon anytime soon. And even if he did, and they completely changed who he was, Starkiller still exists in The Force Unleashed and The Force Unleashed 2, and we'll always have those games, and we'll always be able to play them. You know what I mean? The same way, like, you know, people get very upset that Legends is no longer canon, but like it was never really canon on the same scale as the films. But more so than that, it's not like they held book burnings or anything. Like you can still pick up a Legends book and read it. Like I got Heir to the Empire right over there. I could read that story, start it anytime I want. It's like nothing is keeping us from continuing to celebrate these stories and this awesome network of storytelling that came after the books, came after the movies. The books itself still exists. It's just not what's being drawn from narratively in the new contemporary canon, and that's also fine. I don't know. I totally get it though. I'm protective of these things too. You know, I grew up with them, and I wouldn't want someone else playing with my childhood toys. You know, especially if they're playing with them wrong. We all know what that means, but I don't know. At some point, you got to let someone else take the helm, and it doesn't take away from the experiences that you've had yourself. You know. Swator gang, what's up? But are we Neon Knights or are we Blue Beskar cult? That's the real question. I hope everyone has been following the exploits of the Neon Knights. They've gotten quite distinguished recently. All of our exploits across the galaxy. Like I'm pretty proud of our little gang, to be very honest. Let's see here. Why not both? Exactly. You get twice the conquest points that way, especially for galactic seasons. You should always do everything both. I mean, I feel like it's not a unique take to me. Most people feel this way. Most people understand that what I'm saying, and like that resonates with a lot of people who aren't like kind of blowing things out of proportion. Which, hey, you know what? If that's how you have your fun, do it. That's fine by me. But kind of leave me out of it. You know, that's where I'm coming from. If you have to tear something apart and that's your way of engaging with media, like, you know, I don't want to take that from you. I just don't want to subject myself to you doing that, if that makes sense. You know, do your thing, just do it somewhere where I'm not affected by it. That's all. That's all. You can hold your opinion, but if I'm talking about something that I'm excited about and you come onto the comments of what I'm talking about to tell me that you don't like it, it's like, well, you can, that's fine, man. You don't have to like it, but why do you have to tell me while I'm talking about how I enjoy it? Like, I don't know. Not everybody's entitled to a debate, and that shouldn't be the only way we communicate with each other. You know, there's common ground to be had. We all like Star Wars, right? We all like Star Wars at the end of the day. So why not talk about that? Why not talk about the things that we do like? I understand the criticism for the most part. There are valid things to criticize about this show. You know, it doesn't have to be for everyone. Not everyone has to like everything. And like, whether or not it's about like the staging, the pacing, the writing itself, acting, performances, like whatever you have an issue with, or if it's just not your flavor, that's totally fine. Like, there's plenty of problems with that. If your problem is the diversity, that's an issue. That gets a lot more complicated, and it's no longer just about a person watching a TV show and being like, oh, well, X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, there's an agenda there, you know? And that's not good faith criticism 9 times out of 10. And that's, who has time for that? Who is spending their time watching this show being like, this is the worst thing in the world. I'm going to watch it again next week and think about how it's the worst thing in the world. It's like, just do yourself a favor for your own mental health. Just step away from it, you know, take a break or change the channel. There are so many things on TV these days. Watch something you like. Watch something you enjoy. It doesn't have to be Star Wars. And if it's not Star Wars, that's fine. You know, the people that do want to enjoy it should have a space where they're able to talk about that and get excited without everyone else coming in and being like, oh, you hate this. It's like, well, go hate it over there. You know, I don't know. Torben's aging makeup was bad. I'll say that. It was bad. But you know what? I found it hilarious. And instead of like taking me out of the scene and making me like, oh, God, it made me laugh. I was like, that is the best fucking fake beard I've seen since General Nadine. You know what I'm talking about? Like the dude who had a mullet just like straps to his face. Where is it? I have a clip of him. Hey! Look at that thing. Oh, man. Like, yes, but also think about the actor who plays Tommen. Try and age him up 16 years. Like he's in that age where like people look the same for a long time. So if you're trying to visually depict time passing, you really do have to kind of like go extreme with. That's the thing about the Barash vow too, right? Isn't he supposed to like have not done like anything since he took the vow? So like his hair is just, it's not like he groomed his beard. That's just how it kind of like Jumanji beard just grew out of his face over time. And I don't know. Everyone else at the local Jedi Temple are dicks, and no one could comb it for him, I guess. Well, actually, no, they couldn't comb it for him because of the fucking force field, right? No one can get in. So I guess in universe, his weird bad beard kind of makes sense. You know, it's like no one can get in there. It's like essentially you're in a coma, right? A Barash vow. Like, I don't know. I do a lot of stuff to my beard every day. Like I wash it and condition it and I brush it and I put stuff in it and like do things to it. And that's why it looks like this. If I did like nothing to my beard, like, or like ever, like if I went from clean shaven and just let a beard grow out to this length, it would not look this shape. It would be like sticking out. It would look like Torben's beard, kind of a little bit. So yeah, no, he definitely has coma beard. So that is the conclusion of this hype chamber, is that Torben has certified coma beard. I don't know how we went down this road. But thank you for hanging out with me, everybody. I'm doing this every week. It's just a little hype chamber to get ready before the episode itself drops. We got 5 minutes left. So hopefully you got everything queued up on Disney Plus and ready to go. I will be reacting to this episode with Mabendu. We will drop our full-length version of the reaction on Patreon later tonight. And our highlight version will be on YouTube by tomorrow. Shout out to Nerd Chronic for editing that for us. It's been fun hanging out, everybody. Yeah, I'll see you on the other side. We're going to have a lot to talk about on the other side of this episode. I can't wait. What do we got? I don't really have anything to play us out, so I'm just going to give you some affirmations. Jonathan Frakes telling you that you're right for 17 seconds.
It happened. You were correct. It's fact. It happened. You're right. You were right. It happened. A similar event took place. You're right again. You're right. You're right. It's fact. Yes.